I did not want, Adam Mitchell's martial arts madness. I didn't believe in that. I wanted people to come to my dojo because they were pursuing Jisen Kobudo Jinenkan. Well, I learned later on that that was a very wrong thing to do, because everyone who comes into your dojo wants what you have. And it's your obligation and it's your responsibility to make sure that you fulfill those expectations for those students and bring them to a point beyond what it was that they ever expected. So let's make sure that you come to the realization and you're very comfortable with the fact that you are everything when it comes to the dojo. And please make sure that you fulfill that for your students' sake and for the sake of your Budo. A lot of times what's going to happen with a training group or a dojo is that they don't market correctly, they don't put their stuff out there, they don't enroll students correctly, and they also don't retain students as much as they should. When that happens, then of course the revenue goes down, the bank account goes down, and then when it's time to pay the bills, money's not available. We all understand this, and we've all been there. So oftentimes instructors will scramble to try to find new profit centers and new ways of generating income. And one of the things that we always joke about around here at the dojo is a glowing nunchuck seminar, or the flaming kama workshop, or doing sleepover parties for kids and all that stuff. Now, a lot of these activities have their place in a martial arts school, but a lot of these programs you're going to feel uncomfortable with doing, because you're going to feel, quite frankly, as though, hey, this has absolutely nothing to do with what I teach day to day at my dojo. Yes, it's going to excite the children and it's going to get people involved, and you're going to be able to sell a pair of glowing nunchucks to every kid who comes in for a 3-hour workshop on a Saturday night. Let's talk about how you need to protect not just the integrity of the dojo and the martial art, but you also need to protect the integrity of your time and your time as a professional. So if this is something that works well for you, then that's great. I encourage it. And if you want, I can recommend, if you want to contact me personally, I can recommend to you some of the trade groups that are going to allow you to really develop any of these unique profit centers. I say unique because they're unique to me. To the commercial martial arts school, they're very prefabricated cookie cutter programs, and they make a lot of money for the schools. For me, that doesn't work, and whenever you compromise the integrity of what it is that you do so that you can get one step ahead, then you're not being creative enough, or you're in the wrong line of work. So you have to sell out. Please don't do that. If you're watching this video, then you are a student of Budo. You have a strong lineage, you have a strong heritage, and you have many different aspects to your martial art that you can be creative with and that you can use as residual streams of income for your dojo or your center. And I want to talk about this a little bit. So let me give you some examples of what we do here at our dojo to protect our integrity, to keep our martial arts in place, but instead of wasting our time doing something that has very little to do with the progress of our students or the martial art that we study, let me give you some samples of how we create alternative revenue streams and actually enrich the experience that our students have here, promote our school with more class, as well as bring in more revenues that we're going to make more resources available for our students. Okay, one of the things that we do, and I'm providing a CD with this package, is we're going to bridge the gap. Now, what I mean by that is that every dojo has a cultural identity in your community. So if you have a traditional karate program, then chances are, even if you have a program that's, say, at the high school on Friday afternoons after school, and you've got 20 high school students that you teach Okinawan Karate Do. Okay, there is a cultural identity there that doesn't exist anywhere else. It's no different than say a pizza place. You go into a pizza place and you see, pictures of Italy, and you see bottles of wine hanging off the ceiling. That's a cultural identity. The martial arts has that as well. Now what we're going to do is we're going to amplify that identity to create alternative streams of income. And here's how we're going to do it. Now again, whether you're a martial arts training group at a high school, or you have an existing dojo in your town, What we need to do is we need to create a stronger place for that identity to grow. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go outside the mold of martial arts, and we're going to reach out into different activities, different industries, and different businesses. We're going to, and this is more. I go into greater detail in the audio CD. So, but what we're going to do basically is we're going to go and we're going to create affiliates with different local businesses in different industries and with different activities. And we're going to bring those people into our dojo, and we're going to amplify the cultural identity of our school. This is going to do a couple things. It's going to help us broadcast our marketing efforts outside of the martial arts or recreation field. It's going to bring in much more income, and it's going to allow us to get people to experience Budo who would have otherwise never been exposed to it. And what is more fulfilling than that, quite honestly, as a martial arts teacher? So it's very easy for you to get a hold of your local census, and you can find out what your Asian American population is. I'm sure that most larger communities have a Japanese American organization or Chinese American organization or anything like that. Go to your library or your community center and find out where these different centers and activities are if you don't already know. If you do already know, I would encourage doing it anyway, because chances are there's going to be an organization that you're going to say, how come I never knew about them? They do exist, believe me. And you know what, even if they're 20 or 30 miles away, take the time to contact these people, make a personal connection with them, and let's start writing down in a notebook that we have specifically for this one project. I want you to write down all the different activities that they provide. Now let's think about this. As a Japanese martial arts school owner, some of the wonderful activities I can offer to my students or family members of my students even, we do origami, we do ikebana. Origami is paper craft and paper folding. Ikebana is Japanese flower arrangement. We do daiku no dogu, which is Japanese woodcraft and carpentry. We do shodo, or Japanese brush calligraphy. I can go on and on. I think you get the point. But if we make a connection with an instructor in our community who has a similar passion for the traditional arts, then we can promote in our school to a community of members that we're going to bring someone in, say for example a shodo master or an instructor of brush calligraphy, into our dojo, and on a Saturday afternoon we're going to do an introduction to shodo. And this is going to allow you to understand the similarities of the sword and the brush, and why it was important for the samurai to also understand the literary and brush arts. So we're going to really bridge the cultural gap here. This is going to give a much, much higher perceived value of your school in your community, because I can guarantee you the local commercial schools are not doing programs like this. It's going to make you out to be a more academic institution in your community, and it's also going to open you up to a much larger network of other instructors and individuals who might also want to come back to your school and teach. So this is a really great opportunity for you to have new and quite honestly very solid revenue streams for your martial arts school, but not selling out, not having to compromise the integrity of what it is that's so valuable to both yourself and your students. It's going to create a much better and more enriching environment for your students, and it's going to help you to become much more successful at every level of your martial arts school.